Hello everyone, this is Amritpal Singh. Welcome to the next video of our programming language. Guys, in this video, I'll be continuing with the same topic which I discussed in the last video. It's Shiny. It's been my third video on this topic, and in this today's video, we'll be talking about more of the advanced options and how we can get the data from a particular file, and we can draw the some graphs or charts along with the web interfaces in Shiny. All right. So if I can just recall my previous video contents, I've written in this case, I'm just using this simple notepad contents for today's video. And we all are aware that as I've already told you, this is the third video of this Shiny topic. In case if you haven't watched the previous two, I want you to watch the previous two so that you can get the basics first, right? Then only you can understand what's going on in this video. So we all are aware that all the Shiny apps follow the same template. We have a library Shiny, right? And we have a fluid page available which help us in getting the web interface of the Shiny. Then we have a server function available through which we can write our logic, right? And the last is using Shiny app we can execute the code. So this we already have discussed in the previous video. I have just written the sample code that we have discussed in the previous video, in which we already have made use of title panel. Means the content which will be shown at the very top on the left side. Then we know that the sidebar layout is nothing but consisting of two columns, in which we are having the sidebar panel to the left and main panel to the panel to the right. Under the side bar panel, we already have discussed in the previous video that we can have multiple type of inputs, but we have used the slider input, in which we know that we can have a minimum value, maximum value, and we can slide the sidebar, this slider, and we can change the output accordingly. And we can also have the radio buttons as well in our web interface, as well as we can select from a drop down menu as well. So this thing we already have covered in the previous video. All right. So in today's video, we'll be continuing with the same content, and I'll be showing you first of all what are the different means how we can represent our outputs. Okay, this is all about the inputs. What about the outputs? So the first topic is add placeholders for the outputs. So what is output? Output can be any object that R creates and that we want to display in our app. It can be a plot, a table, or a text. So Shiny provides multiple output functions, one for each type of output. And all the output functions have an output ID argument that is used to identify each output. You must be aware that in the previous video I've told you that input, when we talk about this input, this input functions, it has two arguments. One is input ID, and then we have the label which we want to display. In the same way, in the case of output function, they have an output ID argument available, which is used to identify each output. So the first output we'll be talking about today is the plot output, the main output. That means how we can print the plot out of the given data. This is the simple basic code in which we are now writing in the main panel. In the previous video, we have just written that the results will go here. Some text we have written, but we can specify the output ID. This is the output ID which I've already have defined, and in this way we can just display the plot out of the input data. So in all my previous two videos of the Shiny, we have only discussed about the this one fluid page. Okay, we haven't discussed about the server one, right? Server function. So this time around we'll be talking about this. So server function will always have two arguments, input and output. Both input and output will be a list like objects. So input will be a list which you will read values from, and output is a list you will write values to. So input will contain the values of all the different inputs at given time. Like in our case, it will be input coming from the slider, radio buttons, and this drop down menu. All right, and the output is where you will save the output objects. It may be a plot or a table or a text. So there are three different rules we have to follow to build the output in a Shiny. What they say that first of all we have to save the output object into an output list. We need to build the object with the render asterisk function, with asterisk is a type of output. I'll be showing you with the example. Access the input values using the input list. This is a simple basic little code we have written. Output $myplot. MyPlot is nothing but this is the output ID. Then assignment operator, render plot. I've already have discussed this render, right? So in this case, it will be type of output because I want to display the plot, I want to display the graph, so that's why it's render plot. And in this, we are just passing this simple basic function, plot function, rnorm 100, means we are plotting with the 100 random points in the app. So in order to attach, this is a basic rule, like you have to remember, right? That means what's the meaning of this line? In order to attach an R object to the output with the ID X, we assign the R object to the output $X. This is the output ID come into play here. All right. So how we can make an output react to an input? For this today's video, I'll be using one data set coming from this particular link. It is nothing but the British Columbia liquor store product, and you have to download the data set from here. I'm already having, I can show you, this is the data set which we are following, in which we are having multiple columns available, type, subtype, country and all, alcohol content, price and sweetness, whatever, right? So these are some of the contents of this CSV file. All right, coming back to it, so we have to first load. We all know how to load with using a read.csv function, and we are mentioning that string s factor equal to false. I don't want that it by default it is treating the particular string as a factor, so we are keeping it at false. So in the fluid page function, we will be having the same content that we have started in the previous case as well. No change at all. We are having same Shiny tutorial as my title panel. In the sidebar layout, we have a sidebar panel. Under the sidebar panel, we can have a slider inputs and all. Main panel means the right side where we can print the outputs. So either I can go with this. Let's suppose like this is the simple example we have taken, in which we are now specifying the output with the help of render plot. I've already discussed that rule, in which we are specifying plot rnorm input $price input 1. So what is this? Actually we are all are aware that the server function will have the two things, input and output, in which we are specifying input $price input means it return the vector of a length 2 containing the minimum and maximum price. Okay, so we already have discussed in a previous case as well, minimum and maximum, right? So it's not that only we can define as basic plot. We can go with any of the advanced plot. Like in this, we're taking example of the ggplot. Okay, under ggplot we are specifying the input data, in which we have loaded the data like in X. Okay, then we have aesthetic function in which we are specifying the alcohol content, and we are printing the geometry as gom_histogram. It means like for the output, okay, you can go with any of the plot. Okay, it can be one line. Like here it was just a one line. We can have multiple lines of code as well. All right, so this is the main concept. Actually, whenever the user manipulates a slider in an app, okay, we want to make our app like dynamic, means if we change the output, change the input, sorry, maybe in a slider, it should reflect in my output as well. Okay, this concept is called as a reactivity. Okay, you see, when a user manipulates a slider in an app, those values are updated, and whenever the code relies on it, gets re-evaluated. So this concept is called as a reactivity. So in this case, we have the main code which I'll be using today, in which we are having now here we can have the output as my plot. Okay, and we are having this render plot, means this is a basic function, and then we have a filtered. Okay, and in this case we are specifying with a pipe operator, we are applying the filter here, means we are specifying that if we are changing, if the price is greater than equal to this minimum price, okay, we already specified in the above, this is the minimum price 0 and max price 100 if it's less between 0 to 100, and we can also specify type equal to input type input. Okay, we already have taken this in a previous video. I've discussed that we can have a multiple 3 different type of inputs. We can take one in the slider, one we can take in the drop down, okay, one we can take in this case as the radio buttons. Based upon the inputs, okay, the output should change, and it should plot the graph which is called histogram, and the graph will be changing accordingly. So let's do it now. This is a complete code now. Let's talk about it. First of all, we will be requiring 3 different packages for this little practical. Shiny package, of course, ggplot2 for the histogram, dplyr for using this pipe operator. Okay, first of all, we are reading this read.csv. Using a read.csv, we are reading the file which is available in my downloads location. Okay, and afterwards we need to we have to go with the fluid page function, in which we have a regular title panel followed by a slide bar layout, which is consisting of 2 columns. In one column on the left side we'll be having a sidebar panel. The sidebar panel will contain 3 inputs. One is in the form of slider, one is in the form of radio button, one is in the form of select input. Then we can have the I don't want this to be printed, so I can remove this. I'll just be having a basic little plot available, my plot, okay, in the main panel. In my server function, we can have this input and output to in the list available, in which the output I can specify this my output ID, which is my plot. Under the render plot we can specify my let me put the variables here. We can specify the filter, in which we can specify all my inputs. Based upon the input, the plot should be displayed. Okay, this is the complete piece of code. Now let's copy this entire content and let's see if it's running. Okay, we'll see that if there's any error, will resolve over there. I've already have opened up my RStudio server, and we need to go over there, new file, okay, and shiny web app. Okay, we can specify today May 18, done. Okay, and just go with that. First of all, we need to check out where is my output, this file available, BCL. I need to check it out, BCL. It's available in my downloads location. Okay, so we need to put it complete path here, home, Amrit. It's available in my downloads. Okay, it's done. Okay, followed by everything is okay, my plot, and then we have function available, we have X available, everything is okay. Let me save this first. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm running this app. All right, let's see this if it's working or not. If I'm changing this slider, you can see the output is changing. You can see I'm changing the slider, the outputs are changing. Okay, let me change it for beer. Yes, it's working properly. Yes, see, you can see the graph, the output is changing accordingly. This is the nothing but the dynamic, or we can say a reactivity concept available. So I hope the things are clear now, right? So this marks the end of this video, in which we have learned how we can display the output and how we can override the server function. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you in next video.